Behind my grandfather's house in Maine stood an old well. For as long as I can remember, no one ever drew water from it. Not 10 years ago, not 20, not even 50. Grandpa always said there was never any water in it, and Grandma used to scare us, me and my brother Tom, with stories about a strange creature living in that well. She called it the bogeyman, and we'd laugh it off, thinking it was just one of her spooky tales. But one day, she told us a terrifying story connected to that very well. Grandpa had built the house back in 1952. There was no running water back then, so he dug a deep well, but the water never came. Frustrated, he boarded it up with thick wooden planks, saying it was for better times. The family got their water from a public pump near the house. Not long after, strange things started happening. At night, someone or something would pull the planks from the inside of the well. Animals went missing, chickens, even sheep. Sometimes they were found mutilated right there in the yard. Grandma said it was a horrifying sight. Grandpa refused to believe in anything supernatural and never filled the well, hoping that one day water would appear. But one early morning, Grandma saw it. Something crawled out of the well. It had pale, almost translucent skin, a thin, bony frame, nothing but skin and bones, and unnervingly long fingers. Based on her description, it resembled something like the rake, a creature from urban legends. Years passed. Grandpa and Grandma died, and the story of the well was forgotten. The house became our family's summer retreat. One summer, Tom and I decided to find out if there was any truth to Grandma's tales. We didn't believe in monsters, of course, but capturing something weird on camera, like the rake, sounded exciting. We convinced our parents to let us camp outside. Dad was fine with it. Mom wasn't thrilled. We took an old lantern and a piece of raw meat, thinking it might attract whatever was out there. That night, after the lights in the house went out, we placed the meat next to the boarded-up well and crawled into our tent. 2 hours passed. Tom had finished his bag of chips and was fast asleep. I was struggling to stay awake when suddenly I heard a noise, wooden boards being slowly pried open. I froze, unable to move. Eventually, I mustered the courage to shake Tom awake. I put a finger to my lips, signaling him to be quiet, and pointed toward the old well. Tom stared at me, his eyes wide. We both held our breath, trying to hear beyond the pounding of our own hearts. But there was nothing. Tom shrugged and whispered, "Seriously? You woke me up for this?" I told him I'd heard the boards moving, but he didn't believe me. To prove he wasn't scared, he jumped out of the tent and marched straight toward the well. The meat was gone. Tom accused me of hiding it to scare him. Determined to show me how brave he was, he removed the planks and looked inside. He froze. I asked what he saw, but he didn't respond. I thought he was messing with me, so I crept closer and peered into the darkness. Something was down there. Someone, or something, was sitting at the bottom, chewing on the raw meat. Terror gripped me. I was too scared even to scream. Tom just stood there, staring into the darkness. Finally, I let out a loud yell. The lights in the house flicked on, and Dad rushed outside with a flashlight. I pointed at the well. Dad shone the light inside, and there was Tom, lying at the bottom. They pulled him out. He had a broken arm, cuts and bruises all over. Dad said Tom had simply fallen in, acting recklessly like boys do. He didn't believe a word of what we told him. The next day, Dad filled the well with dirt, saying there were no such things as monsters. Maybe the well connected to some underground caves, which would explain how something, or someone, could have gotten inside. But we saw it. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't a person. It exists. Maybe people around here call it something else. But I know what we saw. It was the rake, and we'll never forget it. Grandma was right. Please subscribe to the channel and like it. You can also leave your comments. These actions help promote the channel on the YouTube platform and inspire me to release new horror and scary stories for you, my dear viewers.